So hi, I'm Paul Rakovich. I'm working for BP over here in the United Kingdom, previously from BP in Australia, so travelled around the world to be here. So my big idea is, how can we stop supply performance management being a transactional event? How do we get real-time feedback from the business as to how our suppliers are performing on the job, on the tools, when it happens? That way we can create some value by talking live with the suppliers when we can solve issues, rather than talking about an issue or something that went wrong in the past.
So is the current model that you're sort of waiting for those problems to happen, and then there's the feedback process?
Yeah, the problems happen in the field, people move on, and then what we try and do is we try and group all of those tasks together and have a specific event with the supplier to discuss them. Delays in time, people without that feedback in the business start to get nervous or disgruntled with the supplier's performance, and we really can't address the issues at that point in time.
So what are some of the tools that are available now to use to get that real-time information?
I mean, the tools are there. So the tools are things like Twitter, but in the business sense, whether it's Yammer or whatever the social feedback that we have in the organisations, but to really get the business to understand when they need to engage and at what point in time. I mean, we're talking about a 30-second message at a point in time versus I know I've got to think about something a week later and recall the events and then get something to procurement. So it's kind of, you put it in the real-time context, and then suddenly it's not such an issue for the business person to provide the feedback.
So is this something that BP is doing quite well, or is it examples of other organisations around the world that are starting to use this technique?
So it happens quite well in a crisis. So I think is the point when something has really gone wrong and you have to call people together to solve an issue. I mean, that's when you see the real-time feedback working well with people in the room. So you're trying to create that environment that says, we might not be in the room, but it's real-time feedback and solutions being provided.
And so just on the Procurious network, social network, how do you think that can sort of feed into this process?
So from the Procurious side, I think it's this, again, real time, but it's really to get people engaging in what is common problems that procurement people face. Not necessarily on the tools, but on how to interact with their stakeholders and their suppliers to get better results. And I think the more that we can engage in that sort of conversation as procurement professionals, the better we'll find. We'll find people that are like-minded and are facing similar problems, and we might find some solutions there. So there are other people to help beyond your kind of existing organisation or networks.
Perfect, that's good. And I might just grab a quick word on the event and how you found this morning and some of the key things you've taken away from it.
So what have I taken away? The first bit is that procurement seems to have the same challenges all around the world, and that I think we might not see ourselves as the organisation sees ourselves. So we hear from Chris and we hear from some of the panellists just before that the organisations are actually seeing us as critical. But I think as procurement, we're kind of saying we are still the poor cousin or the poor part of the organisation in that process. So it's maybe this, stop and reflect and actually understand that the organisation does see us as valuable.